Hey folks, your OS reviews. You're watching our retro unboxing and kind of throwback first look. We'll come back with a retro review later of the HTC Cha-Cha, also known as the HTC Status. This is definitively on a list of really unusual, unique phones that weren't super popular, weren't really commercially successful, but it was coined as the first Facebook phone, and it had this dedicated Facebook button on the very bottom, which you could tap on to launch into your wall and update your status, as well as create new posts in a very easy manner. And the button will also glow whenever you have new updates or wherever you have something that can be posted onto Facebook. So really media-centric, great for teens, and it was kind of aimed at people who love social media and in particular Facebook. It ran on an early version of Android OS, and it's built by HTC, so you have that classic aluminum design and soft touch rubber build. Also unique because it almost resembles a BlackBerry in its style. It's a QWERTY keyboard phone that's a portrait, but it also offers a touchscreen display on the very top. Other features are fairly typical. They include Wi-Fi, GPS, Bluetooth, and the like. A GSM quad-band phone, so not too much going on as far as it's an unlocked device which you could use internationally. Just pop in a SIM card and you're ready to go. So it looks like we have just the phone itself. This is a refurbished version that I picked up recently, and there's also a thank you card that includes the user manual, which you have to download at this link, it looks like. And we have just the phone on top. Comes in, I believe, just this one color, so it just comes this is white and silver tones, and we'll take a closer look at the design in a second. Here is the back plate. You can see that it comes with HTC Sense, which is a proprietary skin on top of Android that HTC has built. In the early days, it was not quite as good or streamlined as it is today, but it was still miles ahead of the Motorola Blur and other competitors that tried to heavily skin Android. Battery here is also fairly typical for a battery that is around 5 years old, I would say. You can see that in terms of capacity, it's 1,250 milliamp hours, which is not huge, but for a fairly small and underpowered phone, it should suffice for a day or two of use. There's also the charging adapter, which is, you can see, branded by HTC, and a micro USB cable for data and syncing with a computer. And that's everything. So popping out the phone here and putting the battery onto the back, you can see some of the Bluetooth indicators, micro SD card slot for expanding the built-in memory. There's a full-size SIM card on here as well. Rare to see in 2017, but makes for a pretty good backup phone or a good travel phone if you want to pick one up for the purposes of going abroad. And the battery is the only thing that is kind of plastic. Other parts on the phone feels like a unibody build with its aluminums that's running across all the way to the front. You can see it continues even to the faceplate of the keyboard. So really a well-built phone for a mid-tier device that was never meant as a flagship phone. Let's see if there's any power by tapping on the key on the top. If we get a quick boot, and indeed there is. Haptic vibration, so you can vibrate when you get a new notification or if you're typing and texting, so that's pretty cool. The screen you can see on the top here is definitely small, so it's not going to be the best for media consumption like watching videos or web browsing, but it's similar to an older BlackBerry, and you can interact with the capacitive multi-touch screen for swiping and other gestures. Top here features a very loud speaker, which you can see has been machine drilled, and there's also a front-facing camera for quick video chatting applications. Capacitive keys are on the very bottom here for the typical Android home, menu, back, and search, and there's also two call and end keys, which I think take up a little bit too much space. I wish that these could be virtual and maybe have a number row or something that's dedicated, or even make the screen a little bit larger. You can see here that we have a very great keyboard. The keys themselves are nicely domed. They are risen above the surface, and you can see there's a slight tilt to the phone. It's not completely flat. So at the slanted angle, it's slightly more comfortable to hold in one hand and to text and dial and type. So really a great physical keyboard. If you love typing, if you love writing emails on a mobile device, I think you'll love the keyboard on here. Finally, there's that classic black Facebook button on the very bottom here, and everything else is just really clean. The side features a volume rocker, there's a micro USB port for charging, and the very top features a 3.5mm headphone jack, power on-off switch. The back features that 5-megapixel camera with LED flash and loudspeaker, and that's basically it. So a pretty beautiful build and design despite being, again, a low-cost device. So really cues of the Sense UI is coming into place here. The screen is really sensitive, but it is a pretty low power device, so definitely not great for multitasking and running games. And you can see here that we are greeted to sense, skip ahead through some of these setup screens, so it tries to find me a internet to connect to. Google services, location, let's try to agree with that. And hopefully privacy statement. And we're done. So we're greeted to what looks like the regular screen being populated in a few seconds with preset widgets and the infamous HTC widget clock, which flips in this analog retro style. So you can see that everything, including the drag down notification drawers, will work, and time and date are not set up correctly at the time, but it can be updated once we turn on internet. And you can see that the display is actually pretty good. It doesn't offer the most pixels per inch, it's not super sharp, but colors are bright and vibrant, and it's an IPS panel, so viewing angles are nice and wide as well. Keys and controls are definitely a little bit small since everything is squeezed onto this tiny screen with an unusual aspect ratio, but for me that's what makes this phone interesting. When I look back at retro devices, I want to pick up phones that are unusual, memorable, and definitely not boring, so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to look at this Facebook phone, the HTC Cha-Cha. So messages, mail, tips, the market, so that's before we even had the Play Store recoined, the browser, as well as a Google search key, music, HTC contacts. You can add additional widgets, probably only fit one widget onto each screen. Full list of all your apps, again, sorted by HTC Sense. I think that's actually a decent thing to do here just because the screen is so small, and HTC seems to do a pretty good job with making everything still seem comfortable to use on a relatively small screen. So in terms of apps, it's pretty clean, not too much bloatware. You have some utilities, some quick social media, HTC Hub apps, navigation apps from Google, and that's essentially it. So seems to be actually pretty good. You can customize it, reskin it, add new widgets, and try to change things up a little bit to match the colorful nature of the phone. So obviously we'll come back with a full retro throwback review of the HTC Cha-Cha, aka the HTC Status, in the coming days, but for now this has been our unboxing and first impressions of this device. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.